If you guys can see me, know that I'm trying to get the chat up. And if you're still with me, thank you for being patient. I guess the internet went down. So the loud machinery I was hearing was probably related somehow to whatever's going on. So I have no idea if you guys are even there. What a day. Hi, Tina. Well, you and I are here. I don't know if it's going to happen again. It sounds like construction going on. I don't know if someone new to the neighborhood. I don't know. The internet went completely down. I restarted my computer and the routers and everything, but it was completely down. What a day. I'm so sorry that this has happened today. You don't have to remind me to make that call. I made that call. I wonder if anyone else is going to come in. I should go into the school and say I'm back on, but if you're subscribed, you get a notice, right? I feel like I should just reshoot. Maybe do a tomorrow pickup and I'm just going to hope people do this, and I'm going to go into the school and let everyone know I'm in there. Hi, Dolores. Well, we had to restart everything. This is I think it's happened once before, so. But I was really hearing a lot of loud machinery sounds, and that is not normal from where I'm at. So I'm just going to send a little message out or check and see if anyone's going, what happened? No, I'm not. I'm just going to pick up where I left off and welcome back to anybody. You went to have dinner, Janet? I don't know what happened. All I can tell you is my internet shut off. And I was about to use my cell phone for Wi-Fi, and then it came back on. So that's the longest I've been shut out. Apologize for that. It was out of my control. Maybe I should have just kept napping today. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you all for being patient. Well, I know you're patient people because you've always been patient through other disasters as we've developed this show. And then I think I noticed someone was live. The show, no, today's Thursday, so the show is starting today. So I guess they were live at the show. I have no idea what happened. The gremlins. We used to say that a lot. So I have I have a question, Janet. What are you having for dinner? Amy, I made that call. I don't have to make it now. They're going to have the parts sitting outside if I don't make it by the time they close. And I don't know if the person that asked that question is on here. Oops. I almost undid what I did. Oh, I did answer that already. All right, last miter to sew, and then I'm going to sew these two pieces together. Yeah, we don't want these gremlins hanging around here anymore. Another important thing, if you do not secure the beginning and the end of your stitching line, when you do the diagonal, your binding could fall apart at the worst possible moment. That's right. The way I usually do this is I glue my bindings. I should turn the iron on, even though it's one of my least favorite things about sewing is using the iron. But sometimes we need to put our fabrics, kind of bring them back to their nice crisp state after pulling them apart. I have no idea how this video is going to look on our channel. I might have to download it all and put it all back together. So welcome everybody. This is part 4 or 3 or 4 of today's live feed. Because we had internet issues, the internet popping in and out. If we go down again, I'm going to end the show. All right, so we can all know. And I'll be in contact with you all in the school. But we're going to cross our fingers that I'll be able to finish this. So this is the miter, and I don't trim it to a 1/4 inch seam allowance because it's better. It's a better experience. So this is what happens when you don't forward and reverse or secure the beginning and the ending of your seam. I wanted you to see in case you get a little lazy. They are separate videos. Gosh. Guess I'm going to have to edit them together. Oh, that's a lot of work. They allow us to do some editing on YouTube, but not this sophisticated of a situation. What the heck is going on? Oh, I'm trying to sew forward and I had my finger on the reverse button. It definitely messed me up having that happen. So Amy, are you going to the show? So now I'm going to sew these two together, and one may be longer than the other because I didn't really measure. Definitely a lot of static electricity in here. Okay, I was just seeing if I had right sides together. Now I know I do. Basically, you just sew them together with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Using the satin edge foot, we can achieve a 1/4 inch seam allowance using a measuring tape. I'm going to hold that binding in place. This is my measuring tape. Or should I say, where's one of my 50 measuring tapes? I must not have put it away last week. Oh. If you're still... I didn't feel like I should go anywhere until I didn't have any symptoms. And my feet have not been the same since I had COVID. I don't know if any of you are feeling that way, but I guess it can be one of the symptoms that lingers is painful feet and hurting toes. So walking around, doing all that at a show, I just don't think I would have been... it would not have been wise for me. I'm doing the right thing for me by not going. Yeah, my older video for binding is edited, and we have it on USB as well. So you don't have to go through trying to find one of these videos. Yesterday I went to UPS, and one of my colleagues, or a colleague of mine that has employees that I might be able to hire, was there, and I went running up to give him a hug, and he goes, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, don't touch me. I might, you never know." And I'm like, I hate being reminded of it like that. Yeah. I increased my magnesium, and I think that's why I'm sleeping so good too. And I think that actually is an issue. It helped me a lot. My feet feel a lot better today, or the last 2 days. So what you want to do is you want to sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and you can see that they're not the same size. So I put my needle in the left needle position, and I'm going to lower my needle on one of the lines on the measuring tape. And then I'm going to move the guide pin over to the 1/4 inch spacing. So that is how we set up the foot for 1/4 inch seam allowance. And you can also do this for 1/8 inch seam allowances. Lower your needle. So I don't really need the fabric here right now. That might be confusing you. Lower the needle on over one of the lines, and then turn the nut. I got too much stuff in front of me. Oh, there it is. And now we have 1/4 inch spacing. Now to make sure that you're lined up nicely, and this is something that I will generally not mess around with, especially if you guys are gonna like get my sample in your hands and examine it up close. You should not store the bottle on its side with the lid off, or it seals itself like a banana. Okay, and then we do little dots. And then just slide my finger across. And I would do that the entire length, especially with these fabrics, because this one is significantly lighter weight than the yellow one. So they will want to shift on you. I hate to say this, but I have to step away for just a second. And I will leave you with intermission music. At least this time you're going to know that I am actually still with you. I'll be right back, you guys. come back. And sorry about that. I lost my Band-Aid. I just didn't want to bring it up again. What a day. Now my hair's all falling down. Oh well. You've been making baby burp cloths? I'm a hard-working woman. Oh, Tinkerbell, would you like me to move that? Oh. There you go. She was digging into this. We don't want her to dig into this beautiful skirt. All right, I have something that's not set up because of all the fiasco, and I'm going to do it so I'm back to normal. Sorry about that. It got caught on something and ripped off. And all right, we're going to make it through. So in lieu of gluing, because it does take a while, I'm just going to plant my finger. What I try to do is make it so that the top fabric, the lighter weight fabric, is on top, and then I put my finger down and try to pay attention to where that my finger is to see that it's not shifting. If it is, then I'll revert to gluing for sure. Pushing gently or just placing my finger like this, but on this side so that I push toward the foot. Always pushing from the side instead of holding like this and pulling from behind, which is a very common way for people to sew. Basically, they become the feed dogs and try to control the fabric. So my finger is just sitting there like that. At shows, I would have sometimes the person sitting across from me. My foot control just slid away. Oh, goodness. I'd have a person that sitting over there, and I'd say, give me your finger, and they'd put their finger like that. And they couldn't see what was going on over here, but I'd have them put their finger there, and then I would let go. And they would be the ones guiding the fabric. Now, I'm not saying that this foot will sew for you, but it practically does when you start to trust it more. And there were many times at shows I would go, let's see how long it will sew by itself. And so you can see what I am doing. And I'm not moving anything because I can see the fabric is touching the guide. But I do notice that the yellow fabric seems bigger here, but it's just that I didn't cut it well. So I'm going to, I'll be in this position, but I'm going to let you look up close. Hands up. So both hands over here. And then I make sure that my fabrics are together again. Back to hands over here. And this is why the blind are able to use this foot so well. So when you gently push toward the foot, then you're preventing it from separating from the foot. But if you get your hands in there and you do this, if you grab hold in the front and the back, then it bounces off the foot. So it's a gentle, just a very light touch. I'm just not sewing as well as I normally would with this finger. It's only one finger. Jeez. Silly. All right, we're coming up on a join, so you can see. So you notice his hand doesn't move, it just sits there. And that's because I'm relying on the foot to push back in the opposite direction. coming up on the join, and I didn't glue this one. And then there's another join right there. That one is glued, so the glued one's on the bottom. Don't have to pay attention to them. They won't move. And I should have ironed my fabric spray starched after doing the joins. And you should. Definitely spray starch your thinner fabrics. My. Well, it looks like it's sticking. Whatever the gremlins have left, and we are good to go. Have any of you found that you finally have relaxed into the foot and that you barely hold on and use light touch? If you have, share in the feed so people watching can know that is what you're experiencing as well. Coming up to the bottom join that is glued, so I don't have to worry about it moving. And all this just for one binding. But it's very striking when it's finished. Tinkerbell is still digging over there. Uh-oh, this is not right sides together right here. No! I'm gonna see something. How many ways can we mess up? I was so sure I did that right, but that's when the power went out. Or not the power, but the internet. Let's see how much binding we need. 1, 2. I may not have enough, and that would be another mistake. Now's the time to figure it out before I join those together. I gotta rip another seam. I feel like quitting. Did you tell me what you're making for dinner? I had to do some shopping yesterday. I used to love, the thing I loved most, well, I loved a lot about the shows. I loved all your faces, but I loved it when I would make you guys hit one another. I found it quite interesting that people would literally like, did you see that? And just smack the person sitting next to them. Can't believe I did that. So I'm going to just quickly tie this off. I'm not changing my seam allowance, so I don't have to mess around. Setting that up again. And if I don't have a perfect binding, this one is going to be sitting underneath a lamp on my table. There's still some of you from Facebook too, so why don't I trim the join? Okay. I have found that I just sewed it backwards. I just sewed it back on the wrong way. How did I do that? Oh, I know why. Okay. This is one reason why you don't trim the join, because if you did it wrong, we can take it apart and we don't have to cut some of the fabric away, because if you cut it, it's gone. But another reason is it's easier on the foot to get up and over if it's a gradual bump instead of a sudden 1/4 inch seam allowance. Hi, Karen. Well, this video is like 4 parts because we had internet going in and out. And it's messed me up. All right. So those of you who gave up and then realized I was back on, how'd you realize I was back on? Did it... that's what I did. Okay. Pretty sure I'm doing it right this time. Oh my goodness. I'm going to go back to never making pressers on show day. Hi, Claire. I don't know if you can catch up, Claire. This video is like 3 parts because the internet went in and out. So like my chat isn't working on one of my devices. I feel like my eyesight's better this week. If I did it wrong again, I'm gonna... Okay, I didn't. Ay, ay, ay. I also have to go somewhere. They close at 5. That's 4. And I realize I didn't cut enough of this. Oh, I did. It's over here. Did I? No. It's too small. Chat's working on YouTube. It's just in my phone. It wasn't, and now it is again, because now I see it. All's right with the world. Everything's fine. I have to cut one more piece of this. Last week was just as bad towards the end, so I never even thought to check if I had enough. This would definitely be something you would do before. I think I'm just shy 1 strip. So we can go over the measurements. This is the faux piping. And the piping that isn't going to show as much is the piping. And it's the one that you want to cut wider than the other. Where's my ruler? Where's my ruler? There it is. So for the faux piping, it's 1 3/4. And the other half of your piping is the colored, or the one that you're going to see the most of, and that you cut at 1.5 inches. I have done a number on this, and my favorite blade is somewhere else in the facility. All right. Does this feel like you're home doing it yourself? Oh man, I didn't cut enough. Gotta cut some more. It just came back on, so you left your device on and all of a sudden you could hear me talking again? Is that what you mean, Ellen? Or did it... Okay, so this is right side. This is what I want to do. If you need more length to your binding, you put right sides together. So this is right sides. Oh, come on, button. Okay. You put your right sides together and then you cross it like that. And then you sew from one corner to the other, and I usually use the light box to really make sure I'm spot on. I'm going to hold this up to my light to see that it's a square. So I don't know if you can see. There, you can see. So you see how that's perfectly square? And then you draw a line from this corner to that corner and follow on that line. Another option is to do this. Take one of my pressers and rub it like that. Now you have a nice fold. And you would move the guide over to the needle. I'm just trying to get caught up myself here. Come on, go back. I think this machine is having an issue with reverse. It never had before. Might be time to take it in. Another way to make your hands not look ladylike is to service your own sewing machine. So Ellen, were you having trouble chatting before and now you got it working? Hello, Sue. We are running late because I had the internet go down a couple times. One time for minutes. So I love how you guys all think you're late. It's so cute. It's like you're all here for school and you say that, I go, I'm sorry I'm late. It's so cute. I love that. I'm talking like my niece. I do that sometimes and realize it. I don't know where my glue is. Oh, there it is. Over there without its lid, because its lid is over here. Ugh. Bad habits. It stopped letting you chat earlier, Ellen, because we went down. I couldn't. I had to turn completely off all of our equipment and the internet, all that stuff too. And I believe it was the internet, but it confused the feed. I don't know. There's probably something wanting to update. Your internet's been awful lately? We're blaming it on the gremlins. Where'd I leave off? Okay. Take 23. Hello. Who's that? Sewing with trifocals. Are you the one that's always hand sewing when you're watching? Is that somebody else? Which button to push? Oh my. I wish I could take the dogs out to dinner. I would always have a date. This is why I usually glue it down, because otherwise the flap wants to flip up on you. I think it's just because too many people are watching on their devices now. So many people home that didn't used to be. Well, I've had people tell me that they listen to me at night in bed and my voice puts them to sleep. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I even had a couple of people, I think about 4 or 5 people actually, that say I should do one of the meditation videos or go to sleep videos. That's so funny. You often think I'm not the only one. That's the first time I thought of it, but I was like, when I'm done with the show, I usually feed them and I have to go somewhere. So I'm like, oh, they're going to be so bummed. And like Chase, he'll eat a hamburger in the car so I could take him to like In-N-Out Burger and get him a burger. But I don't want to eat anything like that. My dogs aren't friendly enough to take anywhere. It's Tinkerbell's fault. She may be little, but she's mighty. So now the magic happens. I'm going to use the iron. In case you're just coming in, I'm making the binding for this, not for that. But we're making this kind of binding. I actually get excited when it's time to bind because my technique is all done by hand. If any of you have used my binding technique and you know how much easier it is. Do you get excited when it's time to bind also? This is the traditional binding, also done the same, using a similar method, just no faux binding, but the turning corners and everything will be the same. I think it was what did I say it was? $2.29 or something for that bottle. It's a big bottle. So one of the reasons I recommend you spray-based, or I did not mean to say that. What am I about to use? I got it right in front of me. Spray starch is because it helps the it helps to alleviate some of the stretching that you can do with your hands. I got it pretty wet too. Use steam as well. All these things that you're told not to sometimes. And the reason I use steam is it shrinks it back up again. But notice that I'm just leaving the iron sitting there. That I don't move my hand around. And then it kind of just brings the fabric back to its original shape. But before I use the iron, I usually use my presser. Another way to use the presser is to get your mat hot. And then lay it down and press with the warmth beneath it, and it helps press faster. So you're not having to worry about burning your hands while you're working it. And I'm pulling a diagonal so that I don't end up with what I think is folded nicely. I know that it's spread apart, and I'm not going to end up having it be wrong when I'm finished. And once you have it pressed with the presser, then you can use the iron and go quicker. So is this making sense to you guys? Oh, here's the ink. Want to watch it disappear? I still find it enjoyable to watch the ink disappear. How old am I? May as well add the starch. No more ink. So once again, do not move your hand around, and it's okay to periodically give it a shot of steam. When we get towards the end of this, you're going to really see how amazing using the spray starch and the steam is for your final part of the sewing. If you've ever had to join the two ends together and you have that 9-inch section and it was all spread out and wobbly looking, and you're like, I know I cut this right, but it just seems like the binding is too big. And you may have even tried to cut it or crimp it in, but all it really needed was a little bit of spray starch, some steam, and it will shrink back up and actually shorten back to its true size. It's the same trick that I do when doing curved piecing for like drunkard's path. Whenever you're going across the bias and you're sewing, you can tend to stretch your fabric out, and this will shrink it back up again. I can't figure out which one's my end. I think I have enough. I'm really not sure. 1, 2. Probably. I'm just going to cut this. This extra piece is bugging me. Another cheater way is to don't ruin your needle. When you got a lot of something that you want to just kind of get it kind of spread out before using the iron, so you don't have to get your fingers real close to the heat. You got the edge of a table and you can just kind of rub it against that, but you are going to be stretching it out of shape a little bit. This is kind of like a giant presser. Make sure you're pressing over to the dark fabric. This hurts my finger. Everything hurts my finger. So that's why I'm clumsier today. I'm not really sure how to hold that hand. In my dream, I was not having any trouble at all. All right, so now it's mostly folded over. All right. I'm saying all right a lot. All right, all right, all right. I'm so nervous that they're going to forget to leave my stuff outside because they didn't give me all my parts yesterday. And then I called and she had forgotten. I can't even imagine breaking this up into another one just because of today. But it is 4:30. Now the next part is to fold it in half. But check, make sure that you have nice pressed to the side. What you want to look for is that whichever direction you folded it over, that when you pull on these fabrics, that it's tight, that there isn't a big fold over like that. See that? That'll mess you up later on. So when you're ironing, you're kind of pulling the fabric that you're pressing over to. I just keep hearing you guys say it's not your fault that your show broke up into pieces today. So I'm thinking maybe, I don't know how many orders I have to get out tomorrow. I could do this tomorrow or Saturday. What are your thoughts? Let's vote. Friday or Saturday where I finish this up, because, and then I'll kind of go over the whole process so that we have one binding video live that's not endlessly long. This will already be ready. So in the chat, right, Friday or Saturday. I don't mind going live with you on Saturday. I don't have anything really planned. So I have one vote. It's because the rest of you are probably eating dinner. Or I put some of you to sleep. So if I go live on Saturday, what time on Saturday? In the morning? So you have your day. Here's the thing, Friday, I mean, it's the last day of the week to ship, and we got a lot of orders to still get out. It's like all of the stick and tear that was rolled is pretty much gone. So we have to roll more. So let's vote. Tell me what time on Saturday. Oh, it's going to be snowing on Friday where you are? I'm going to tell you that it's going to be Saturday because I know how busy tomorrow's going to be, and I want to do a really good job when I do this. I won't have anything on my mind but this. So if you don't tell me what state you're in, I don't know what noon is. Amy, you're in Arizona. So you guys retired? Is that it? You don't want to get up too early? I am going to show you this though. When we go to press this now again, and I definitely use the glue for this. You glue your two ends together and then look what happens. That's how you end up with your piping look. And you can use this for more than just this. I'm so embarrassed though. Well, the week before last I put quilting and binding. I sure have a different perspective as to how long something's going to take. Should I quilt a little bee though? Really quick? I have yellow thread in. So this is kind of confusing when you think about it if you don't write notes, and I will be writing the notes for this episode, for Saturday's episode. I'll give you a little instruction sheet in there for myself and for you so that we don't have to think about it. If you ever want to do faux piping, you'll have step 1, step 2, step 3 instructions. All right, you want me to quilt a bee really quick? I have it in my head. We'll see how good I do. All right. And then I'm going to go pick up parts so we can make more creative feet. Oh, this batting fuzz somewhere. I love this batting, and it loves me too much. I really want to put the gray thread, because not that people are going to be looking at the back of this. Here it is. I feel like cutting off a hair when it gets in my face. I remember somebody I knew would do that. She'd go, oh, this hair is driving me crazy. I'm just going to pull it out. And I go, but it's going to grow back. And it's going to do that again. And I never really understood, but I feel like that sometimes. So this is the gray thread that I was using for the bobbin. And I kind of want the whole backside to have the same look. And since it's already wound and I knew where it was, and we're going to take off the foot and the snap-on adapter. I do not. Sue Sweet Galaz. Is that was your maiden name Sweet? So sometimes I look like my skin is peeling. Here, I'll show you. So it looks like my skin's all dry and peeling off. That's just the glue. But it just dries and becomes water-soluble stabilizer laying around. So you could have a damp washcloth if that kind of stuff kind of grosses you out. Remove this snap-on adapter. I'm giving you guys another 10 minutes and then I'm going to go. I'm so glad I got all those pressers done. I have the 94. I run through my checklist in my head before I start. I don't have to lower the feed dogs, but I will. Because I'm going through my checklist, I won't forget. I don't need a foot because the hoops become a foot. You get 3 in your kit. And we were out of octi-hoop handles too. Like, we can't run out of the shanks for the Creative Feet and the handles, because then we have no Creative Feet products that we can ship. And both had run, or just about to be at the end. And these handles drop into the frames and make it so you can write with the hoop. I'm going to use 2 frames for quilting to eliminate the need for stabilizer. One frame, the larger of the 2, is going to go beneath the quilt, so it will be invisible to me. I'll drop this down on top. And this will be what I can see, but I won't be able to see the bottom frame to make them move as one since they're not connected. We just bring the corner to it and then you move it around like this. And that's how the quilt will move. And it doesn't make sense till I start to do it. So take and slide this one beneath. This one drops in on top and it's not connected in any way. So to get the quilt to move, you just bring the 2 corners together and now the quilt just floats along the surface of your machine. And I was going to do a bee. I'm going to practice where the lamp was going to sit because the lamp's going to be over here. So I haven't done this before, unless you count in my sleep this morning. I used to carry a big piece like that of the liquid-based glue that I had let dry on my machine and peeled it off. And at shows, I would pass it around. All right, I'll share a funny with you. So I'd pass around the invisible thread, which is as thin as my hair. And this one lady, she goes, "This is the grossest demonstration. First, you pass around thread that is like your hair, and then you pass around stuff that is like dead skin." And I go, "Yeah, but you're not going to forget, are you?" So our invisible thread is super fine, it's soft, and it's supposed to be sewn in the needle and the bobbin. So you have a beautiful soft thread instead of scratchy thread like some polyester monofilaments are. All right, enough chatting. Straight stitch, and the sewing machine foot is not on, but I'm still going to lower the lever so the tension discs close on the thread. And then let's see. This is white? Oh, it's Invisifil. Ugh. That's all right. It's where the lamp's going to go. Do I care? I don't know if I care. It's going to be mine in my living room. Bring up the bobbin thread. Nothing better than these tweezers. Boy, that bobbin tension is really tight. I must have messed with it. Notice I blame myself. Okay, so I'm just going to draw what I imagine the path of a bee. So the bee is buzzing around, and this is what I was envisioning. And then we have a bee at the end of this. All right, Claire, think of a bee. That would just be wrong to just do that without drawing it first. So you just go, okay, the bee's going to be here. What does a bee look like? It's got a big butt and a little body, right? And it's got some stripes. And it's got kind of that kind of wing, right? Well, that doesn't look very good. Is it very good? Or how can I sew it? Oh, he has a stinger. I almost forgot his stinger. All right. Now I'm going to leave that in my line of sight to kind of get an idea of what I'm going to draw. And get this stuff out of my way. My elbows are down. Shoulders relaxed, loose hands, loose fingers. Before I begin, I always, even when I'm alone, say elbows down, shoulders relaxed. And then you think about what you're going to draw and know that you are the one in control of how fast you go. I reduce my speed control by about 30%. But the width of my pinky, I slide it in there for the full path of my, that's what I do. I'm not really sure what the percentage is. So that's the posture. I'm getting the microphone out of my way so I can see. I think I'm gonna end at the stinger. So we'll do his body. Oopsie. And then we'll do a wing. And the wings kind of overlap. And if you're noticing that I'm sewing better than I would draw on the paper, you're right. Because I don't have to push down against anything. I didn't give him a head. Come down here. And I think it's more important he have a stinger. What do you think? Did I do a bee? Top wing is larger than the bottom. Not on this bee. I think it looks good. I'll take a picture of it and put it in the school. Did we decide on an actual time? No first marriage. Oh. See, I remembered my question. I'm astounded I remembered my question. Thank you guys for jumping in and out of my broken feed for today. I'm always amazed at how absolutely patient and kind you guys are to me each week. If I didn't catch your questions, know that sometimes I have time to go through these, but most of the time I don't have time to go through the feed. And there's the school is available to you. It's create.clairerowley.com, and you can ask a question in there. If you see a circle with my face, you click on it, you can send me a private message. It says, say hello to Claire, and you actually are having then a private conversation with me. If you go into the school and you just start typing, you're typing to everybody that's in the school, and sometimes it causes a conversation. It's similar to the chat in here. You're basically on a live chat. If nobody's in the school at the time you chat, well, you won't get a response right away, but I will respond because I see every message that comes into the school no matter how you do it, unless you send a private message to one of the other members, because that would just be rude if I could know what your private conversations were about. So know that this today is like the third or fourth chopped up version or part of season 3, episode 5 of Fabrically Speaking Live, because we had the internet go out several times today. Because of that, I'm going to go live again. I've decided that I'm going to go live Friday or Saturday, Mountain Standard Time, which is the same as, I don't know. We're 2 hours different than New York right now. Does that mean that we're the same time as California right now? Or I can't keep track of you guys anymore. I've lived here too long. Is anybody in California? Can you say what time it is there? Is it the same time in Pacific right now? Because I'm the same time as my daughter right now, so I'm totally lost. And she's in Colorado. Can you imagine? It's a great thing to not have to change your clocks, but for most of the year, I have no idea what time it is anywhere else. So you can just type in, what time is it in Arizona? And tomorrow, I'm going to go live. I'm going to go live at 11. It's 3:40. It's 3:41 in Washington and California. Okay, so that's good to know. Until you guys bring your clocks forward. And we won't be. All right. Well, that explains why my son didn't respond this morning when I texted him, because he was asleep. Okay. So, one more glance at the bee that I just quilted. And I use that Invisifil thread, so it's very light. It doesn't stand out as much as our, I think this is I accidentally used the polyfast on here, so polyester, can't remember. This is the endless project that I've been working on. Let me cut this thread, make sure the bottom hoop is not in the wrong spot. There we go. So if you're not aware that this has been going on, I think this was my second project for the year, right? So part one was cutting out the pieces. The pattern is this. This was me showing you how to make your own pattern from any drawing that you find online, like a cartoon character or coloring book. And this is in the school for you guys to print out, and then you create this pattern or these applique pieces from it. And I gave you leaves that were better than what was on this. Then the next segment was episode 2 of season 3. I showed you how to applique 3 different ways. These are 3 different blanket stitch options for you. If your machine does not have the traditional blanket stitch, or if you find it difficult, or if you're going to want a blanket stitch, for instance, on stretch fabric, well, this would be a terrible stitch to use on stretch fabric. This one's great. And it is also for lingerie, for hemming lingerie. And then on the circle, I used a blind hem stitch and shortened it really short. And we got our first troll. At least first one I saw today. And then the next episode of Fabrically Speaking Live, I did the quilting. We did the sunflower, and then I quilted around the flower. I wanted to test, and I have to continue this. So I didn't go around all the petals. I thought about it, and while I was doing it, going, oh, I probably should, because it's not going to look good on the back if I don't. So this is what I finished in my dream this morning. I did all of that, and I made a bee in my dream, but I hadn't done any of it when I woke up. So what I was also testing is this is our Fuse and Fuse stabilizers, the lightest weight fusible on the market, and it holds, it doesn't gum up your needle. And I quilted over it without a foot, and it went perfect. I was able to do these pebbles as well. It didn't lift at all. In other words, the fabric itself didn't lift, and the stabilizer didn't lift, and there was no stickiness on your needle. And then this week, I was just doing the binding, getting the binding ready to do. And I sewed this little bee for you guys. Oopsie. And I'm getting nervous because I now have to just like leave. But I'm glad I got to have a little bit more time with you. And I just had to quilt after dreaming about it this morning. With that, I love you guys. Oh, if you like this video, well, I'm impressed. If you would like to subscribe to my channel, or you'll hit the like button if you liked it. Subscribe if you have not yet. Go to create.clairerowley.com. It will be in the description of this video. And join the school. And I will see you guys Saturday. This is a surprise. I will send out a newsletter to let everybody know and a notice in the school. I'll see you guys Saturday at 10 o'clock. No, 11. I want to sleep in a little bit. See you 11 o'clock on Saturday. 11 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. Till then, love you guys. Bye.